Religion, at its core, began as a search for meaning, not a business model. Yet today, many religious institutions increasingly behave like corporations. This is what we mean by corporate religion. Corporate religion looks less like a spiritual path and more like an enterprise. Brand management, logos, growth metrics, donor funnels, public relations departments, marketing teams, and celebrity leadership. Faith becomes a product, believers become customers, and spirituality becomes something to be consumed, not questioned. For Gen Z, a generation raised in the age of transparency, social media, and constant information, this is deeply unsettling. Gen Z is the most skeptical generation in modern history. They question authority by default, they value authenticity over tradition, and they have instant access to contradictions that previous generations never saw. When they see religious leaders flying in private jets, wearing ostentatious jewelry, living lifestyles indistinguishable from corporate elites, the moral authority collapses. When they hear sermons focused on repeated templatized, vague, feel-good messaging, empty motivational slogans, or prosperity narratives that resemble sales pitches, they sense manipulation, not transcendence. And when scandals emerge, financial misconduct, abuse, hypocrisy, they spread globally in minutes, not decades. In the United States, this phenomenon has been especially visible in the rise and fall of megachurch culture. Massive auditoriums, stadium-scale worship, polished productions, and charismatic leadership structures that mirror entertainment and corporate hierarchies. But this critique is not limited to any single institution or geography. Megachurches are simply a more extreme and visible expression of a broader shift happening across organized religion. Another major red flag for Gen Z is political proximity. When priests, pastors, or spiritual leaders are seen courting politicians, posing for photographs, seeking favors, concessions, or influence, religion stops looking like moral guidance and starts looking like a lobbying operation. Sometimes those politicians aren't just flawed. Some are openly authoritarian. Some are brutal dictators. Gen Z see leaders eager to be photographed with politicians, not to challenge injustice, but to secure influence, tax breaks, or favors. They see moral authority traded for proximity to power. They see religion aligning upward, with wealth and politics, instead of outward toward humanity. To Gen Z, this signals compromise. It suggests power over principle, access over integrity. Even sacred spaces themselves feel altered. Large multi-million-dollar religious buildings increasingly resemble convention centers, corporate headquarters, or luxury hotels. They feel impersonal, disconnected, architecturally impressive, fun but spiritually hollow. For a generation craving intimacy, meaning, and honesty, these spaces feel cold and transactional. It is important to be clear. Gen Z is disengaging from organized religion in general. But the drop-off is most severe in the West, where religion has most openly merged with corporate structures, marketing logic, and political ambition. However, in an increasingly flat world, driven by social media, global visibility, and cultural cross-pollination, this disengagement is likely to spread to Asia and Africa as well. Young people everywhere are watching. They are comparing lifestyles, values, and contradictions in real time. Many are not rejecting spirituality itself. They are rejecting institutions that preach humility while displaying excess, that claim moral authority while operating like businesses, and that treat people as demographics rather than seekers. There are legitimate reasons for religious leaders to meet politicians. There are times when privacy and secure travel are necessary. Gen Z understands safety. What they reject is opacity without humility, luxury without restraint, and power without moral courage. The problem is not interaction with authority. The problem is becoming indistinguishable from it. In a world where every institution sells something, Gen Z is asking one uncomfortable question. If religion looks like a corporation, talks like a corporation, protects itself like a corporation, why should it be trusted any more than one? And until that question is answered, the exodus of Gen Z from organized religion, especially ones run like a corporation, will continue. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.